Is Nepal the most dangerous fly zone in the world? I ask this because of something that happened on the 24th of March. A Nepal airline plane almost hit an Air India flight. Even in the era of top-notch technology, traffic alert and collision avoidance systems, Nepal managed to risk a near collision in its airspace. How does that even happen? Well, here's what happened. An Air India flight was en route Kathmandu from Delhi. The flight had entered Kathmandu's airspace and was descending. The pilot asked Kathmandu's ATC, or the air traffic control, if it can descend from 19,000 feet to 15,000 feet. And reports say the ATC gave a go-ahead. But what the air traffic controller did not tell the Air India plane was that another flight was also descending to land at the same time. And this one was a Nepal Airlines flight. It was flying into Kathmandu from Kuala Lumpur. The Times of India quotes a source as saying Air India crew saw the flight coming from the other direction and immediately informed Kathmandu Air Traffic Control. The ATC asked Air India crew to ascend sharply to avoid a collision, which they did, and a tragedy was averted. But what if it had not been averted? What if the crew had not spotted the other plane? There were some 200-odd people on board both the planes. And it was the job of Kathmandu's air traffic controllers to ensure that both the planes and all the planes that come into the city land safely. But clearly, Kathmandu's controllers have no control of what's happening in their skies. They let two planes come too close, almost hit each other. Nepal's aviation authority says the air traffic controllers responsible have been suspended. But to what end? Because this is a recurring story. Nepal's civil aviation is a horror story. You see, there have been 42 fatal plane crashes in Nepal in the last 77 years. Sometimes the country blames the topography, sometimes it's the poor weather, and sometimes it is cockpit communication or pilot error. But the problem here is actually none of the above. Like we told you after the Pokhran air crash in January, the buck actually stops with the government of Nepal. It simply has not been doing its job, because otherwise the basic checks would have been in place. Following the Air India close shave, Nepal's Civil Aviation Authority has formed a 3-member probe committee. They are supposed to investigate the matter. But what after that? You see, there is a plane crash in Nepal almost every year. And every time there is an air disaster, Nepal wastes no time in ordering a probe. But what happens after that? Are the recommendations of any of the reports even implemented? I hardly doubt that. Because when we went through the air crash reports earlier this year, most of them pointed at similar errors, similar gaps in the system. And most of them were very basic things that are hard to get wrong, like coordination among the crew or pre-flight briefings. What happened last Friday with the Air India flight proved that point yet again. That the government of Nepal is not doing its bit to ensure that the basic safety protocols are in place, that the people deployed in the country's aviation sector have the basic training, like how to fly a plane or how to control the air traffic, how to ensure that a flight approaching your airport does not crash or gets hit by another plane. As I speak, Nepal does not have the basics in place. And the result is, Nepal is fast becoming the most dangerous fly zone in the world. European countries have already banned Nepal's airlines from flying into the continent. It's a matter of time before countries mull suspending flights into Nepal. What about you? What does this piece of report mean to you? If you are planning to travel to Nepal, you should blink and think. Take the road if you must go, because flying to Nepal or in Nepal is a big no-no. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.